gentlemen, this is It's All Good, Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is my favorite Jolly Rancher flavor, Dave. Dave, how's it going this evening?
Don't mess with my cuckoo.
I don't even know what that means.
That's the song the driver's listening to when he gets spike stripped by Mike.
Oh, man, that's such a good song. I was watching that. It's so catchy.
According to Wikipedia, it's like the Spanish version of My Humps.
Oh, really?
They're basically
That's
saying,
hilarious.
don't mess with my ass.
Wow. That's great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's like later in the evening on Sunday night. Better Call Saul episode 209 will be airing tomorrow. But of course, as you're listening to this, it just got done airing. Before we jump into it, Dave, what did you think about the episode in 3 words?
Best of season.
And my 3 words would be, I would agree. So before we get into it, just a few things that I do want to announce to people. There's a few people I owe t-shirts to. I promise they will be on the way tomorrow. Additionally, if you've been listening to the Nothing Important podcast, Dave and I have been so busy lately, and this takes up so much of our time, that I have been playing some of our classic episodes, quote unquote, from when Dave and I actually started podcasting over like a year and a half ago. Yeah. And it's nice for those of you that are listening to that never heard it before. That's pretty cool. Our numbers are going up. Our audience is increasing. Yeah, and it makes me happy that I figured out a way to bump those old episodes. So it'll probably be new for a bunch of people that haven't heard them in quite a while. And it's kind of interesting listening to when we first talked to like C-Note from Two White Crew or Greg Johnson, who was the creator of Toe Jam and Earl. Just the difference in how we spoke back then, and even the difference in audio and such is pretty interesting. But I have a lot of things planned. I have a lot of feelers out there for guests. I have a lot of ideas going. So for the next week or so, it's probably going to be classic episodes of Nothing Important once again. But as long as people keep listening, I'll keep playing them. And then when this wraps up, Dave and I can get back into the swing of things of actually making new episodes, which will be nice.
Yes, it will, because I believe I owe at least one that time of the month, probably 2 at this point.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to announce, Dave and I haven't really talked about it a lot, but next week is the season finale, and AMC has been nice enough to give Dave and I tickets to the season finale taping of Talking Saul. So we'll be in studio at the, I think it's the Sony movie lot down there in LA. It should be a real fun time. I don't know if we'll get to meet any of the guests or Chris Hardwick or anything like that, but
or
it's
Peter
incredibly
Gould or Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, but it's incredibly cool that AMC has given us the opportunity to go there. So we're going to try to sneak off as many picks as possible for you people. And I guess overall what we want to do is thank everybody out there for listening, because the t-shirt deal was a big deal for us, right? Like, because how the t-shirts came to be was I just talked to me and Dave from last year had AMC press credentials, but the press site really doesn't do anything but give us pictures and synopsis. And then I just kind of pushed my luck and I said, hey, we have a lot of people out there that really enjoy the show, and our listeners are very, very passionate about the show. How about you put me on that fancy swag list that real media outlets get on? And I don't care about getting a Better Call Saul briefcase, but if you put me on the swag list, I will probably break down everything in the press kit that you send me, like all the goodies that you send me, and I will make those individual giveaways on the podcast. And the guy was like, well, you know what, that ship kind of sailed, but what I can do is I can send you t-shirts. So he sent us like a box of t-shirts of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul t-shirts, which was super cool. So then I kept pressing my luck further, and I'm like, well, we've had a lot of the cast on our podcast. It's obvious that me and Dave are kind of invested in this for to no financial benefit of our own. I was like, you know what, who would be a great guest on Talking Saul? Dave and Brian, because I've seen other shows do that, bring in like podcasters for their particular niche or whatever. I didn't think in a million years that I would ever really do it. But hey, man, you never know if you don't try, right?
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. Because what the hell does it hurt to ask? What's the worst they're going to say? No, and then I'm not on the show anyway, so who gives a shit, right? So they said, well, the guests were booked way in advance of even asking. But if you're going to be in LA April 18th, I can get you tickets to the Talking Saul finale taping. And I was like, well, I don't have any plans, but I can buy a plane ticket. And so that's the plan. So if everything goes according to plan, we'll be there in the audience of Talking Saul. Obviously, you probably won't hear from us or see us or anything like that. But if I could sneak off some pictures for you guys, I would definitely do that. But even if, say, something happens and I'm not even able to make it, right? The point is that we got the invite, which is more than enough, I feel, right? Like that's
right.
That's
cool. Exactly.
And that would never happen if you guys weren't so active on Twitter and you guys weren't, listening to us every week. So the thing about podcasting is a lot of times when you get into podcasting, everybody's like on this big, like, oh, how do I get sponsors and all this other bullshit. And, Dave and I kind of toyed with the idea of that, but, we're more realistic than I think the average podcaster is. Like, nobody's going to give us. Nobody's going to give us like a car, like, and this like Amazon affiliate link bullshit where they're like, hey, why don't you spend a bunch of time promoting Amazon, and then on the off chance that somebody goes to Amazon through your website, we'll throw you $10. It's like, go fuck yourself, because unless you have like major numbers, pretty much I'm just working for you for free, and that's bullshit anyway. So there are episodes where you hear us mention it, but it was kind of more of a we'll see what happens kind of thing. But like we've always just kind of felt that was a bullshit thing. That's like me saying like hey, why don't you promote this this car I'm trying to sell, and every time somebody comes and looks at that car, I'll give you $2 towards buying the car. It's fucking stupid. And it's
more like every time somebody test drives the car, because I doubt we even got one person to click the freaking link.
Right. And it's a numbers game, for people like Adam Carolla or NPR radio, that probably works out well, but they're people with a following, and, they have an audience of 6 digits to millions of people, and we do not. No. So anyway, long story short, me and Dave always went back to what we used to do back in our band days, and the whole thing was, hey, if you can't get paid in cash, get paid in cool shit. And just even receiving the invitation and having the guest on that we do, and have you guys even just like tweeting us on Twitter or sending us notes on Facebook, that to me counts as cool shit. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we're getting paid more than we're worth.
or starting campaigns to get Patrick Fabian his own show on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because that is happening right now to Mr. Cohen and Mr. Copperpot. Yeah, we're tweeting while we're doing It's All Good, Man, just so you guys know that.
It's awesome. So what's going to happen next week is, we'll have, because Dave and I will probably get the finale sometime this week. We'll record the show. Sitting from the audience at Talk Us All, I'm going to hit the publish button, and that episode will be live. And then tune in the week after that, and Dave and I will talk about the experience and kind of what our plans are going forward, what we're going to do in the off season, what I have planned for Nothing Important. And there's even a possibility of like some other podcast for some other show in the meantime, but give me and Dave like a week or so to put all that together, and big things ahead, fun things ahead, and it's all because of you, and we thank you. Is that enough?
Also, from I thank you too. Dave.
Sincerely, comma, Dave.
My 2 cents, Dave.
All right, so I got the Heineken going. Dave's got the whiskey and water going, and let's
Dave,
rock.
who doesn't drink.
Yeah, Dave, who doesn't drink, had some whiskey, so it should be interesting. So here we go. Better Call Saul, episode 209. We open back in the desert. We see the ice cream truck. The dude was rocking out to, what's the name of the song?
Me Cuckoo.
So awesome.
Which is like my butt, basically. My
nice.
Or my
and
humps.
They were,
so they're saying don't mess with my cuckoo.
So awesome. So, so a bunch of juxtaposition there. You know, you got the ice cream driver rocking out to "Don't Touch My Ass" or whatever it breaks down to, cruising through the desert, rocking out, and Mike's waiting for him, waiting to ambush with him. We see that he's driving the stick in the ground. He's setting up his little spike strip that he made at home with a nail and some hoses, of course, with the help of his granddaughter. And man, timing is everything, and it just worked out perfectly. And Mike brought that truck to a screeching halt.
That's right. The spike strip worked perfectly, and I love the clever setup where he's not pulling it straight across the road. He's down the road a little ways so he can sneak up on the guy later.
Yeah,
Fucking
that was
genius.
great. Totally. Just absolutely genius. I love Mike was kind of dressed like a ninja the whole time.
Kind of, yeah, Ninja Mike.
Ninja Mike, yeah. He gets the jump on the driver, starts cutting open the tires with the Sawzall. There was like a slight second there where I was like, oh, he's going to take the Sawzall and threaten the guy with it, but then that really doesn't fit Mike's MO as we know it thus far.
Right, and somebody was up on Twitter, I can't remember who at the moment, I apologize, bringing up points about the ratchet sound at the garage when Mike was scoping him out.
That was
when Hector could have seen him. So obviously taking tires off, putting tires on, money in the tires, drugs in the tires. So that's kind of what I thought right away.
Yeah, no, that's I believe that was Winston Brewingham called that like a week and a half ago.
Very nice
Yeah.
catch.
Well done.
I honestly missed that one. I didn't hear the ratchets in the garage.
Me neither. I was just kind of like, okay, they're well. Remember last episode? Like I said, I was kind of like, okay, it's a good episode, but definitely not my favorite. I'm sure if I went back and watched it, and for some reason, I guess I watched it twice, and it just never clicked. It just never occurred to me. See, but the thing is it's not that Dave and I aren't all that observant. It's weird trying to watch a show and take notes at the same time. It's almost like you're in school again.
Yeah, and selecting what you pay attention to sometimes. And
yeah, absolutely. But opening scene was awesome. We finally got to see the spike strip come to fruition. And Mike leaves the guy in the desert and hauls ass and drives off.
Hey, do you think that was a Pontiac 6000?
Why? Isn't that what
that
you
was
had?
my car in college. Yeah, I had a Pontiac 6000 in college with the air ride suspension.
Hell yeah, Dave used to have like that exact car, but it was like in gold, and I was so amused because it has an air compressor in the back. So Dave and I used to stand on it just to watch the air compressor kick on and lift up the back.
And then when you jump off, it's riding like 20 inches too high. To be fat and in college again.
Yeah. So then we move on to the intro. It's the creepy water fountain intro.
That's a urinal, dude.
Is that a urinal?
There's a cigarette butt in there, and he's peeing on it.
Oh. I think I went over that last year. I think I said the same thing.
Yeah, remember last year? Because I said it was like peeing all over his dreams, or like his dreams going to go down the drain.
Yeah, and it's got the business card there. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So the show opens, and Chuck is looking all dapper. He's got a meeting with Hamlin for Mesa Verde, right? He's got the opening, or he's got the hearing to open up the new branch, make sure everything's in order.
Yes, and he is absolutely imposing himself onto this situation. Like Howard's just like, dude, you don't have to do this, and he's like, hey man, image is everything. We got to look presentable.
Yeah, I like it. He was kind of like a let's do this kind of thing. And okay, so like when they get in the car and they pull off, and it was very much like a cartoon. Like Jimmy was like watching from like one side of the tree, and then the camera follows the car past, and then he looks off.
You just imagine a little there's a xylophone in the background. Ding, 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 ding,
right, yeah. Yeah, and he just kind of saunters towards the house holding like papers.
God damn it. I was going to say way back in the early part that Mike got the truck with a Wile E. Coyote trap. I forgot to write that down.
Well, it's on now.
I was going to be like, and Mike uses his Wile E. Coyote style spike strip.
Oh. So Jimmy hides behind the tree. He heads to Chuck's home once he leaves. And, the most obvious thing ever, he has the papers. Not a good plan just to walk with the papers out in the open, because had that been me, It's 100% certainty that at some point I would have lost grip on the paper, and then the papers would have had to been ruined, and then my whole scheme would have been foiled. But
they call that
happen.
lineman hands.
Yeah, exactly. Stone fingers, man. Stone fingers. So it cuts back to
I didn't
Chuck.
even notice that he had the papers in his hands.
No, really?
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, but he was like,
I watched it
not
twice.
not even in a folder or an envelope. He was just kind of holding them and like hauling ass. And I would have dropped them all over, and my scheme would have been ruined. We see a close up of Chuck. He's kind of manning up, and we see that he's going through a metal detector, which was kind of interesting. I wasn't sure. I thought that was going to be a breakdown for sure, but he just kind of balled up and went right through it.
Yeah, he tends to man up when he has to, considering his disease is completely psychosomatic.
Yeah. You know what? One little detail I loved about that is when he got to the other side, he kind of like cracks his neck and like shoulder shrugs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, all right, game on, let's go.
Yeah, like, let's do this. Yeah.
Hamlin's all impressed. He's like, good job, my friend. Like he just won the Super Bowl.
There's a lot of like preparing for a fight body language with Chuck whenever he gets into these situations.
Yeah, well, it emphasizes the struggle that he's going through, because even though
struggle is real, man.
The struggle is real. Well, at least to him. To everybody else is mostly bullshit. But like he honestly believes that there's something wrong with him and something, something causing him an ailment. He's fighting through, man. He's a survivor of electromagnetic allergies. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're in the hearing. Everything appears to be on the up and up and on its way, and everybody's happy. And then, of course, the address issue comes up. It's 1216 Rosella Drive. Chuck's pretty sure of it, but it's actually 1261 on the notice of intent. That's the actual address, 1261. But Chuck is sure that it's 1216 because of what Jimmy did in the prior episode. And I absolutely loved it because Chuck got a little feisty there.
I like the fact that when the clerk hands the paperwork to the chairman or whatever, is right when Kevin says attention to detail, right at that moment. Because like I said last week, this is all about, like, Jimmy doesn't even realize how the attention to detail factor, unless he did realize that, because I wasn't aware that Jimmy was going to replace the original documents and just put it all on Chuck. I thought that he was going to maybe keep the fakes in the files, and that way it looks like the whole company's bad. But no, he put it all on Chuck by putting the originals back.
Yeah, that's what made that opening scene made sense. Is like as soon as I saw the papers, I'm like, oh, he's going to go back and like put the original just in case it comes back on him.
And as the dumbass that didn't see the papers, I had to put that together later.
Yeah, Paige steps up and she's like, no, the address is
Paige finally speaks.
Right, finally steps up and says, no, it's absolutely 1261. And Chuck is kind of testy with her, and he's like, no, you are mistaken, and you're muddying the waters. It's 12.
Yeah, he's right. He double-checked and triple-checked. He knows. Mm-hmm. He's right. He's doing the lawyer thing where, he's just going to keep on acting like he's right until everybody believes him.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was so genius how it played out because, it made Chuck look like an asshole. It made everybody look like they don't have their shit together. And it's going to cost them another 6 weeks before the board can even revisit it. Like, nothing catastrophic, but enough just to, like, it's not catastrophic like it's going to bring the whole bank of Mesa Verde down. But as far as the storyline goes, pretty devastating for all around for such a simple tactic.
Yeah, it affects a lot more people than I think Jimmy might have realized.
Yep. Mesa Verde, they even say, hey, they can't wait that long, and it's kind of tough shit. Like, that's just where it's at. You got 6 weeks. And I like how he said, with all due respect, it's your job to make sure everything is accurate. Maybe you should double check. That's just like, like twisting the knife a little bit.
It's a little condescending to a man that's on top of his game.
I like how during all this, as the scene ends, it kind of pans out, and you can kind of hear the lights up above crackling, and Chuck's getting all stressed out and he's starting to feel it.
Yeah, that's good sound design right there. I really like that, how it just kind of gets more and more intense.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Puts a space blanket on. He goes back home to kind of sulk. He's like, he's 100% sure he was 100% correct, but even Hamlin doesn't believe him. He's like, dude, like, it made us all look bad. Like, it made us all look bad, but I like Hamlin's attitude. It's like, okay, but you know what? We just kind of take it on the chin. We take our licks, I believe he said, and let's move on from there. And I like how he even pointed out, he was like, well, look, it's not only you messed up, but like I messed up, every paralegal and
through
intern.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, like it just went through. Hamlin was trying to keep a stiff upper lip. He's like, hey man, sucks, but go get him, Tiger, like a pat on the ass. And Chuck was like, no.
It was the line, everybody makes mistakes, when Chuck said, no, this wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
This was Jimmy. Because he looked right at the spot where Jimmy was sitting when he woke up, and then it all hit him that he was out for a while, and Jimmy had the perfect opportunity to do it.
Yeah. Putting two and two together. So then we're back at the Greek winker, although I'm wondering, Dave, if the translation is actually the winking Greek. Because sometimes the context and such gets a little messed up. Maybe somebody out there who reads or speaks Spanish could let us know. I don't know if it's the Greek winker or the winking Greek. I mean, it's the same thing. But.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what Google Translate told me. So
It's a nice little scene. Mike is again staked out across the street. He's got his binoculars, and Hector is pissed.
Oh yeah, so I like how Hector's flipping out, and then he asks for his pill because it's leading up to when he's basically an invalid in Breaking Bad. So it's like his sickness is starting to take. And then Mike lowers his binoculars and he gives that little wink, like, Hecky's got some health issues.
Yeah. It's like at that point he knew he won.
Right. Well, I don't even think that. I think it's more like, this is interesting. Like, this is going to come into place. He's going to be able to use this somehow. Because apparently he has a vendetta out for Hector.
Right.
Which I'm thinking might be related to his son's death. It's kind of like he's turning into Batman to justify and right some wrongs in the world. But, that was just kind of like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And then this is my, the next scene, this is my, I think, I guess it's, for as short as it was one of my favorite scenes of the entire show. Mike is drinking at the bar, and he kind of looks at his newfound wealth, and he's just like, fuck it. Hey, I'm buying a drink for everybody in the bar, and he gets cheers. And I like how he does the whole sticks his arms out like my people, yeah.
Oh, I like how first he looks around and then he buys around.
Yeah,
which I wrote down on purpose to sound clever. Joke, insert joke here. But yeah, he looks around and then he buys around because he's like, does anybody know me? Does anybody see this? Okay, now let's do it. Buy around.
It's awesome. I don't know, just something about the last, just kind of triumphantly with his arms out though. I really.
Oh yeah, it's that would be Mike's version of making it rain at the strip club.
Right. I guess that's true. On a side note, real quick, and I don't even know why I'm saying this, but okay. It's
you made
really
it rain at a strip club? We've all done it, Brian.
No, I've never. No, there used to be this bar in Daytona Beach called Robbie O'Connell's. I'm not even sure if it's there anymore, but what was awesome about this bar was it had a bell on the wall, and the rule was if you rang the bell, you had to buy a round for everybody at the bar.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. And it never really, it even had a warning sign if you ring the bell, which made people ring the bell even more to see if they would hold it to it. But if you had a tab, they would, they'd add they'd count however many people were at the bar, and you just bought everybody a drink. And it reminded me of this.
Well, yeah,
one
like
time.
You said. Oh, I wanted to insert something though. When you said it makes people want to ring it more,
it makes people want to ring it more,
like a light switch that says "Do not flip this switch ever."
Yeah, man. I hope we find out what that did.
Well, the last episode's called Switch, or not? No, it's called Click.
Oh, so maybe it coincides. Anyway, so there was a gentleman who was older at the time, and I think this is why I like this so much, and it really reminded me of that.
He's younger now.
Right, but...
He was older at the time, but he's younger now.
Right. You know what I mean.
I know.
He was in Mike's relative age bracket, and I was sitting at the bar, and he came in and rang the bell, and of course, everybody cheers, right?
Uh-huh.
He must have rang that bell 20 times.
Oh, no.
And each time, he did the whole, Like, do you like me now? Like arms out, like, are you entertained? Like it was totally, it just looked like Mike. And just the way that scene was filmed and stuff, it just kind of brought up my memories of my singles days living on the beach in Daytona and witnessing somebody doing something similar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Smash cut, Jimmy and Kimmy. I was trying to think of like a clever name where you like mold them together, like
Yeah,
Brangelina. But yeah, it's either Jim or
Mick Wexler.
Oh, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that one. I was trying to do the first name thing, and it was cracking me up because I'm like, is he Kimmy or Jimmy? Kim? Whatever. So anyway, it's the dentist's office. It's kind of fun. They're moving them heavy-ass dentist chairs. Kind of shows just a time lapse of them putting the office together.
I like that. I like that time lapse, too. I thought that was pretty cool.
Just because of the composition of it, or just because it shows?
Yeah, the way
progress?
it fades in. They keep it short and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And just the way it fades across, and they're, as somebody who's painted a lot of buildings, painting kind of wrong. No, I'm joking.
I did appreciate that. I do appreciate they had like the blue painter's tape up around. That's good because you want to keep your line straight.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I'm not really sure if they laid the paint off properly. Mm. And Jimmy's, his roller strokes are definitely, lacking a little bit. But
he could have done better. You would think
but I would imagine if he did it properly, by the time they shot the whole scene, he'd probably have painted the whole thing twice. So just keep it to one little area, just for the scene.
Indeed. Kim gets a call.
But if you're going to roller a wall, use the extension handle. Stand about 3 feet away. Start in the middle. Get a.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So Kim gets a call from Paige. I was expecting you to interrupt me there.
No.
So Kim gets a call from Paige. It's obvious from her body language that she gets Mesa Verde back, and it cracks me up how smooth Jimmy was, where he just kind of keeps on going about his own thing. But come on, dude, he totally knew what that call was about. He had a feeling about that. He was just really good at playing it off.
I was debating that personally. I was like, does he know? Is he? Yeah, it's not that important. But he knew what he was doing. He knew they were going to call her. And what the hell is a Westfall terminal?
No clue.
I don't even know if that's what she said. I swear she said Westfall terminal. She's like, I don't even know I'll have to find somebody that can do that.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Maybe that's something we should have looked up before we actually did this.
Or we can ask one of our listeners that's into lawyerins.
Yeah, let's not give out any T-shirts though, because I'm not sure how many I have left. I think I might have one or two left. So
if you just want to participate and tell us what she said and what it is, thanks.
A Westfall terminal?
In advance. I think that's what she said. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, you ready? Here we go. Let's continue.
You just jump back in. You don't have to ask me if I'm ready. I'm always ready, Brian.
So the call
I'll interrupt you if I have something to say.
The call is from Ernesto saying that Chuck's already ready to turn over the files, which was kind of surprising. Kim asked Jimmy if he wants to come with, if he's going to gloat or if he's going to help in low column A, column B. They meet Chuck at his house, and the first thing that we see is that the locks have been changed on the door.
Yeah, because what the hell? Mr. McGill had Ernie call a locksmith to change the locks. Seriously, dude, you can't go down to freaking Menards, spend $15 on a new set of locks and change it yourself. It's 2 screws.
Yeah, but he's a big time lawyer, man. He's got money. He doesn't need to. Why do stuff? What's that?
Chuck the yuppie.
Exactly. Why do stuff for yourself when you could pay for somebody else to do it?
Hey, well, it's just job security for other people, circulate money throughout the economy. Look, I get it. Okay. I get it.
I've been there.
But there's also something to be said for changing your own locks on your house.
I like how Jimmy walks in and he's like, what's the deal? Like, the locks are changed. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Like, it's so awesome. Getting the jump on his whole story. Acting like he's surprised, because he's got to put it out there first that he had nothing to do with that. He couldn't wait to be accused. He's got to throw the onus on somebody to explain to him.
Hey, man, he's been at this since 8th grade. He's smart. He knows.
Yep. Smart move.
He knows what's up.
Absolutely. Chuck goes into the whole, he even says he wanted to have the conversation with Kim, but since Jimmy's there, they're just going to clear the whole air, get everything out into the open, and then he's
Because Chuck is expecting this big moment where he's gonna
finally get him, man.
He's gonna blow Kim's mind and
Yeah.
make her realize what's going on, and she's gonna take Chuck's side, and he's got him.
Right. You can even kind of feel that when he says he sabotaged me, and then there was like that awkward pause where it was like he was expecting like a what, but everybody
Right.
just kind of kept quiet, like didn't give him
Everybody's like, "Go on, please explain yourself."
yeah,
Which he does to a T. He's got the whole story perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Like I couldn't decide if that was super realistic or just a little too good, but then you think about like the characters and how they're portrayed and stuff. But yeah, man, he totally had it all figured out. With Jimmy staying over and how he went through the files, and he didn't even have a video of that, and he had it broken down, man.
Right. And I like how he's just like, that's a lot of work. And he's like, well, no one ever accused you of being lazy.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't put it past him to put that much into it.
The only thing that seemed a little too on the nose for whatever reason, and it made me like kind of like what? Like wince a little bit, I guess, is when he says you're gonna need a printer for that, and then he's like, there's a 24-hour copy max or whatever the hell.
Right.
Like he didn't exactly describe the building, but like it for some reason that line about the 24-hour copy center was like a little too on the nose for me.
See, I disagree because he knew what time of day it was. He knew it was at night, and those things were way more popular in 2002 or whatever year it is than they are now.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. It's just something that made my ears perk up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like to me, it sounded odd, but like it makes absolute sense. In the grand scheme of things, it's just something about it just kind of
A little too clever.
Yeah,
a little too much. You got a little too many details, right?
Right. Yeah, it was just like what. So, he's talking about how 1261, it became 1216, blah blah blah. But it was revealed that Jimmy had a fake ID business back in high school.
That's right. Him and Mozart, apparently.
Yeah, both started early, and I like how the whole time, like I couldn't tell if like Jimmy in the background, like I don't know. I kept looking for his reaction. I couldn't tell if he was like the jig is up, or he was just trying to act like pourquoi.
I think he's clutching onto this like a cornerstone, dude. Like he's going down with the ship on this one.
You got to own it, right?
Yeah,
you got to own it.
Hey, that's how he gets away with everything. Just fake it till you make it.
Moi. Chuck calls on Kim to do full disclosure, and she says, well, that basically opens Jimmy up to a litany of charges. So
right.
she's still kind of concerned about him.
Lawyers him back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then she presses him for evidence, and his evidence is just, I've kind of known the guy my entire life. Probably not admissible in court, Dave.
No, that's why, Kim lawyering back, and Chuck was stunned. Like, whoa, crap. I really have no physical evidence to prove this case whatsoever.
Yeah.
And then she goes a step further and starts telling Chuck that he caused it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like totally put everything of their entire lives back on him. And see, this is another spot where I was watching Jimmy's face, and it was it was like I couldn't tell if he was like, even he was like befuddled, like, wait a minute, is she being genuine, or does she know that I did this and she's playing it off to help me?
A little column A and a little column B.
Right. It was like almost he was like surprised by her reaction, right? Like, it was like he didn't know where it was going to end up.
Right.
That's how I feel.
I think this is the best scene of the entire series. Well, about at least the entire season. All the best scenes take place in Chuck's house. But because it shows everybody's flaws. Of the three characters, all their flaws come out in this scene.
Right. Yep.
They're everybody's myopic and kind of self-centered, but they're all covering up other bullshit and blah blah blah. And Kim's really because she's gonna totally take Jimmy's side on this because she loves him and she's gonna get a lot of money.
Right. And there's probably a little revenge in that too, because she probably still feels that they took her client that she brought.
That's right. I didn't even think about all the time in the cornfields.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some payback
which
there.
was Howard's thing. But that was
Right.
Howard's thing.
But
But
it's
she's
beautiful
she's
because-
screwing Howard by getting Mesa Verde screws Howard too.
Right, exactly. It just kind of happened to come through a means of which she had already warned Jimmy previously not to do.
Right.
Yep. And he pays for it because she punches him.
Well, hold on. Yeah, oh yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put this in because I had a couple more thoughts on that scene.
Just put him out.
One is that do you ever notice how Chuck always seems healthy when he's dealing with Jimmy, but then when he's dealing with when he's dealing directly with Jimmy, he seems healthy. When he's dealing with the effects of what Jimmy does, he seems sick. It's like he's the cause of and solution to all of Chuck's problems, like beer is to Homer Simpson.
Right. Okay, nice. So it's more like all caused by the way that Jimmy's actions reflect on him as opposed to dealing with Jimmy himself.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I
Valid.
don't know. Yeah,
Solid point.
interesting. It's like a
Point.
symbiotic relationship with himself.
Yeah, very much like a woodpecker on the back of a hippo. Indeed. Or the pilot fish
But yes,
to a shark.
So then, yes, Kim punches Jimmy, which is the solidification of the notion that, she totally knows that he did it, and she totally just offended him and kept him out of trouble again.
Right, and the whole just drive. Only one,
Just drive.
exactly. Then I think it went into a commercial, and I wasn't really sure where it was going to go from there, but I did like that it opened up with kids playing tetherball. I used to love tetherball.
Yeah, it takes me back to. I was always terrible at it, actually.
No, the key was you had to grab the rope. You had to grab the rope.
That's
And you had
cheating,
to
Brian.
Yeah, no, and you had to swing. Well, even if you're not cheating, all you had to do was hit the ball higher than anybody could reach, and you win like every game.
Yeah.
And then it was winners always serve. So like, if all you had to do was win one game, and you could go undefeated the rest of recess.
Yeah, because all you had to do was throw the ball straight down so it pops up over the other person's head because apparently it's legal to just grab the ball and throw it. Tetherball.
Tetherball is for keeps, man. I would play tetherball to this day if I had tetherball in the backyard. Kristen.
I used to have tetherball in the backyard at my house, but I had nobody to play with.
Oh,
And I had nobody would come to my house.
that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. I hope that came through the microphone. If that didn't come through the microphone, my wife just said she used to have tetherball in her backyard, but nobody used to come play. But you lived out in the country, so.
Well, you should have called my cousin because she used to make me play with her in her backyard.
Childhood trauma is awesome.
So I'm wondering, I would like some listener feedback on this. Is tetherball a Midwest thing, or is that a countrywide thing? Because I know this is Albuquerque, but because I don't see it anymore. But back when we were teenagers, everybody had a freaking PVC pipe and a freaking rope and a ball on it.
Yeah. Well, you had to buy it. Well, the worst part about it is you had to buy like the special volleyball with the hook on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? And then it would suck because every once in a while you'd go to spike the ball and you'd hit the hook where the rope connected to the ball.
Worst.
Yeah. And it'd like break your knuckle or break your hand. It sucked.
That's why you just grab the rope, apparently.
But it was for keeps, man. Like, you know what the best part about tetherball was? Is like as the rope started to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you could time it just right, you just kept like smacking the hell out of it, and there's nothing anybody until it finally hit the pole.
That was like the death roll.
Yeah,
like once you just you're at the point of no return where or you just stick your hand up there and take, because sometimes you get that hard hook hits your hand when you just throw your hand up there to stop it from spinning. I think I did that once. It hurt so bad I never did it again.
It turns out they're at a school, Jimmy and the film nerds, and a new makeup girl. I don't remember seeing the makeup girl before.
No, I don't either. I just remember I wrote down the film students and a makeup student.
Yep, show up to make their commercial. And I like how the safety word was rhubarb. As the teachers were coming out, rhubarb. And of course, Jimmy goes into, his whole.
Another, like, somewhat plausible because of its ridiculousness kind of explanation.
Right, yeah. It's just asinine enough to be legit.
Right. So for the record, Rupert Holmes, his father was a U.S. citizen. He was in the Army. And his real name is David Goldstein.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know that.
I went to Wikipedia.
Oh. I like how Makeup Girl calls him out. She's like, wait a minute, wasn't he English? Like, yeah,
Right.
yes, he was. But he was there for his formative years.
Right. Well, he actually went to New York for his formative years. So that is a lie. Our lie detector determined that was a lie.
I like how he started singing the Pina Colada song and the more mousy.
The one's dancing.
Yeah, she was kind of digging it, right? Like he was charming her. He was charming her.
Hey, the man's a Svengali.
Svengali, not Svengoolie. That was like Rich Coes on like early morning Chicago TV.
Also filmed in the area that Jimmy McGill is from.
Indeed. I like how he makes up the story about Annette, from the superintendent's office and how they had all the permits. And I like how he's like, wait a minute, isn't there supposed to be a plaque? There's a plaque around here, right? Like,
I love that. That's my favorite way to lie is when you turn it around on them and then you act like they were supposed to like provide something for you.
Right.
And then they just gets their brain twisted up and they're just like, what? We were supposed to accommodate you with this?
Yeah. And then they go inside and I love it right before they go inside because one of the teachers said, well, we're going to go call the superintendent's office and in the meantime, we'll see what we can do to keep these kids quiet.
Yeah.
Which is all he wanted anyway.
Exactly.
That's
God,
awesome.
I want to see this commercial. I really want to see this commercial. I can't wait till next episode.
I know. Do you think they'll have it on the next episode?
I think it's going to be probably opening up the next episode.
Nice. Okay.
Because he did say, it's later on, whatever. Where is it at? Oh, I didn't say what day. I think he said tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at 11 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's later. Later in the episode.
Anyway.
All right.
It'll be in the next episode, I'm sure.
Yep. Cut to Mike in the diner. I think he's hitting on Fran.
Oh, they're definitely flirting.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
All he
She's
wants
hitting
is
on him. You want to come shovel my snow?
Right. Does it snow in Albuquerque? Does it really?
It snowed when I was living in Phoenix.
Oh.
For about 30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. It snowed one time when I lived in Orlando. It snowed so much that it was like if the snow passed the streetlight, you could see the snow in the streetlight, but it still never made it to the ground. And people in Orlando acted like that was like a blizzard. Like it was the craziest thing.
That's awesome.
Which is insane because it's almost the middle of April and we literally had 1.5 inches of snow here just 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah. I was driving home from the studio when it almost pulled over.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
All right, anyway, back to the show. So he's flirting with the waitress. He's all happy Mike. He just bought everybody a round of drinks. He seems pretty content. Gets a call from Nacho, and I absolutely love the huge-ass flip phone that he had.
I think something's going to happen to Fran, too. Maybe I'll save that for Pwop. I'll save it for Pwop. But just a little tease that, I think Fran's going to get involved in ways she doesn't want to be.
Nice. Well, we'll talk about it later in the week, which means we'll probably forget about it by the time we get there, but let's try not to forget about it. All right, if somebody could do us a favor, and on Thursday morning, if you could tweet Dave and remind him that he's supposed to talk about what's going to happen to Fran on a Preview with the Prior, we sure would appreciate it. We're going to use the listeners as alarm clocks. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Just tweet us. Just tweet us to remind us, and we'll try to get it in there.
Well, it's funny because Mike makes the comment in the next scene about how you're not half as clever, smart as you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mike's being watched also. No. I don't know. Because then Nacho responds with, Hector forgot about you and you're nothing to him.
Yeah. Well, do you want to jump into that scene then? All right. Nacho and Mike meet at the warehouse in their own little, I don't know what that is. Is that like a chicken warehouse? Is that like where they like a bunch of chicken pens? I'm not really sure what that is.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what that is. It's just like some sort of industrial thing. I think that's a technical term. It's an industrial thing.
Industrial thing. Turns out Mike got away with $250,000. Not a bad payday.
I've seen better.
For the price of gas and the price of a hose and some nails. Not bad at all.
Yeah, what is the cost of corrupting your granddaughter?
I like how they knew it was. I like how Nacho knew it was Mark because he's the only guy that would have kept the driver alive.
Exactly. Like when the thing before about how he said with Tuco, you went a long way not to pull the trigger. I kind of felt like there was something to that, and yeah, it's his tell, it's his tip, if you will.
Yeah, I like how he was also honorable towards Mike, and he said, "I'm not going to squeeze you for any of the money."
Right. Yeah. He's because he knows he needs Mike. He's got Tuco coming out later.
Right. Yeah.
He can't, and like that's the thing is. I'm wondering why Mike is continuing. Like, why is he pursuing Hector? Why is he trying to screw Hector over? Is it just for the money?
No.
Is it a vigilante thing? But then again, he knows that Tuco is going to come into play later, so he's not really done until that situation's resolved.
Yeah, I think he's just pissed that. I think he's just pissed that they threatened his granddaughter. So there was some sort of like, yeah, I don't think he gives a shit, but I think he's still sore over the fact that they threatened his granddaughter.
That's true because they also he gives a look when he talks about the Good Samaritan that picked up the driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Mike just has that look like he killed that dude, like because he said what happened to the Good Samaritan. He's like, well, he shot him in the face, and then I think that affected Mike to where Mike's like, all right, I'm going to kick it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, you're really that bad. Okay.
Yeah, I better step up my game. I like how Nacho also thought that Mike and the driver were in on it. That Mike had somehow corrupted the driver.
Like, there's no way that Mike could have pulled this off by himself without being known or leaving it behind anything.
And then that's when he says, "Well, you're not as smart as you guys think you are." And then he kind of starts getting grilled. He starts getting because Nacho then started asking him, you know, did the driver ever see you? Does he know anything about you?
Mm-hmm.
And Mike's like, no, I didn't talk. He didn't see my face.
He saw a dude with a ski mask.
Yeah, but remember, there was a scene while that was all going down in the opening scene. There was it showed the point of view of the driver of the truck, and he got a very good look at that blue car.
Which is why Mike used the blue car, not his car.
Right, but it just seems to me that still somehow is going to come back and haunt him because it just seemed weird to me that like they focused so much on him looking at the blue car, and then later in the episode, he was asked if the driver knew anything about Mike, and Mike was like, no, I had all the bases covered, but he didn't have all the bases covered because the guy got a great view of the blue car. So unless
but I disagree because he did have all his bases covered because that's not Mike's car.
But it is Mike's car.
It's a red herring. It's not Mike's car.
Right.
Mike has a maroon car. He wanted the driver to see the blue car. He's going to use that to trap later.
Mm. Yeah, when you put it like that, I'm just going to have to go ahead and agree with myself and say that it somehow gets tracked back to Mike. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I just think it was too. Man, I don't know. I just think there has to, in my mind, there has to be more to it. Why they made it a point to show the guy looking at the blue car and then asking all the questions of whether or not that the driver saw Mike.
Oh, okay. Two things.
And so I know it's not his typical red piece of shit that he wanted reupholstered. I'm just saying that's a loose end, man.
I think it's an intentional loose end because they're showing Mike to be that clever. He parked it behind the sign. He knew the driver was going to look that direction because he snuck up from the other direction without being seen. He knew to hide down the road. The guy was going to look back at the tire strip, see a blue car. That's the last thing he's going to see before Mike puts some steel to his head.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did. I can see it coming back negatively on Mike if they ask the driver, like, did you see anything? And the driver says, I saw a car. And Nacho says, oh, he saw Mike's car, starts flipping out.
Mm. Other
than that, he's going to be like, I saw a blue car. And then they're going to go find the blue car, and it's going to have like an acetylene bomb in it or something. And I think Mike's trapping him with the blue car.
Mike's catfishing him?
If you will. False flag. Yeah. It's a false flag operation, my friend.
Okay. Well, we'll just have to see how it plays out. I like Mike's demeanor that entire time. He's completely unimpressed and relaxed, and he got his hand in his pocket. Even when Nacho reaches back to put his hand on his gun.
Yeah. And then, Pop kicks in and says, you need to calm yourself.
Yeah, you need to take that hand out of that pocket. Like that was he grandpaed him out, man. That was totally grandpaing him out.
Well, there's something about the phrase when you tell me to do something and you say yourself, like you need to calm yourself, you need to check yourself. That it angers me a little. That's like so condescending.
Well, he definitely need to check himself. Least he wreck himself, my friend.
Right, which he did. No self-wreckage happened.
That's true. That's true. And that's when he finds out. He's like, why wasn't it in the papers? And he basically tried the same bullshit where he tried to get the cops involved to clean up the mess. And I was like, dude, that is such fucking bullshit. But
then it comes back on Nacho and all that.
Yeah, totally. And couple things, Mike. Well, Mike was like, okay, well then why wasn't it in the papers? And that's when he finds out that his actions got a good Samaritan killed.
Yeah, and the look on Mike's face before he got into the car from hearing that made me write in my notes, Mike equals Batman.
He is very much like Batman.
Yeah, and he's just out for the greater good. He's just this Hector, like I said, maybe it's a way of healing his pain from his son dying or something.
Absolutely.
We're at the toothbrush scene.
Yeah, no Kim. Was she there? She wasn't there.
No, it's sneaky because it shows you the one toothbrush, and you're like, oh, Jimmy's alone. And then he puts the second one in, like, oh, Kimmy's there.
Yeah. I like how that's kind of become like a running theme. Mm-hmm. Like a running visual cue. You can feel the tension. You can feel the tension in the air as a married person.
Palpable.
I know that tension well. It just happens when, this is a way major thing that I ever got grief for. Like for me, it's like, like I'll drink like the last Diet Coke, and then like it's like, all right, like elephant in the room, last Diet Coke, like my bad, I'll go buy a Diet Coke or something. This is significantly a bigger deal than a Diet Coke. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially
I like how Jimmy once again tries to get a jump on things, and he's just trying to level with her, I guess, of sorts, and ask her if she wants to talk about it, and she just kind of shuts that shit down. Like, nope.
Yeah, nope, not now, not ever. She's not. Yep. She's torn. She's in a moral dilemma. She doesn't really know if she did a good thing or not. I think she's secretly happy that things are playing out this way, but she can't.
Right, like the result is exactly what she wanted. The method to which it got there was exactly her ideal of the way that it should have got back there.
Right, but also, I mean, he did it all for her. As Chuck said, it was a big, grand, romantic gesture, and it was. So, I mean,
yeah.
How can you be mad at somebody that'll commit felonies for you? I mean, I'd kill for you, my friend.
I'd kill you too, Dave.
I like how I noticed that Kim's like she's dropping all these hints about Chuck, right? Like he's such a great lawyer, attention to detail. He's not going to leave every stone unturned, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. But she's the one that sets him off on this path by pointing out you have no evidence in the argument from before. Mm-hmm. That got Chuck going like, okay, well now I need to get some hard evidence, and now I'm going to go pursue that. So she kind of set Chuck on the rampage.
Right, and she planted the seeds of doubt in Jimmy's head.
Right, and also
because he was all content and ready to go to sleep, and then she brought up the fact that he'd make a great adversary, so you might want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and all your T's are crossed. And once again, I know that feeling because there'll be nights when I try to go to sleep, and then my wife says something like, "Did you lock the front door?" And even though I know I locked the front door, I got to get up and go check the front. Like, shit. Like,
so here's the thing. So that's her looking out for Jimmy.
Yeah.
She knows she knows he did this. No, she's making sure he doesn't get in trouble.
Right. Yeah. But like doing it in a totally like shitty way.
Right.
Like while still illustrating that she's pretty goddamn pissed about the whole situation that she's been tossed into. But it's just kind of like, okay, asshole, if we're in this together, this is what you should probably look out for.
Go clean
without
up your
expressly
mess.
saying, yeah.
Yeah. So Jimmy grabs his keys, heads over to the copy place where we see Brandon Hampton's stump double get in the car and drive off.
Yeah. I was wondering that, Do you think that was, well, he doesn't know how to drive stick shift, so that's so awesome that his stunt double had to get in the car and drive. What, you know what really impressed me about that scene?
What's that?
Is how Jimmy got in his car and backed up down an alley and around the building.
Yeah, that was slick. That was so smooth.
That was some stunt driver type. That was stunt driver, but it, like that was stunt, that was more of a stunt than Brandon Hampton's stunt double driving the car down the street.
Do you think it was Brandon Hampton's stunt double?
I don't know. Either way, it just cracked me up how that shitty ass car just going full bore backwards down an alley and then whipping behind a building.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was so smooth. I wonder if they sped it up or if it was just a really good driver.
It's pretty damn impressive.
Yes.
So once Ernesto leaves the shop, Jimmy kind of pounces and he bribes the print shop worker, which was nice. It's good to see some good old fashioned bribery.
Great casting call on the print shop worker. Like, is he stoned? Is he mentally handicapped? Whatever, kind of nervous.
Or is he just a zombie from working overnight all the time?
Right. That's just the kind of person that just that works that kind of a job.
Yeah, we can relate to that kind of a little bit.
Been there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, when we were no longer allowed to work together at the truck stop we both worked at, then one of us was always on midnights.
I like how he did a good job of covering his ass too, because he asked if it was like a murder or did somebody rob somebody, like rob a bank.
That's I would have like see cash, grab cash. I see nothing. You know?
Right. I see nothing about anything ever.
Like what? Who? Where are we? Is this a photo copy shop? I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he did the upsell because Jimmy asked about the cassettes and asked if it would be $100, expensive to get rid of the tapes.
And this is where the cunning linguist in me comes into play because I love the cameras. It could be tricky and expensive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, and he got another couple $100 extra bucks. Good for that guy. That guy is
he'll go far.
Yeah,
he says he'll go far.
Entrepreneur. Totally.
Yeah. There's that game recognized game from before with the epileptic dad.
Indeed. Then Chuck shows up and he's going to grill the copy guy who had already been prepped by Jimmy, which is a good move. A smart move on Jimmy's part.
I'm thinking the entire time that this dude's going to crack.
Yeah, I thought so too. Especially the way that they kind of had it set up where Jimmy's kind of watching from across the street and he's just kind of like talking to him like, that's my guy. Yep. That's my guy. I thought it was just going to be like a monumental failure.
But nope, the dude doesn't crack. Chuck's head does.
Yeah. That's so awesome. That was such a great way to end the episode. He's just getting more and more infuriated and that makes him more and more susceptible to all the electronic shit in there, and then it just kind of gets crazier because then like the two girls working the copier then needs help and he's trying to play it off, and everything just kind of culminated with Chuck smashing his head off the table.
Yeah, I having watched it twice, I had the same reaction both times. Like, I didn't see that coming. I thought he was going to fall to the ground. I really thought he was going to fall to the ground, but wow.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be a heart attack. But the blunt head trauma is so much more visceral. It's so much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And then and he's like, like the whole like call 911.
Yeah.
Like, when you're sitting there, it's like you're watching somebody that's doing something they should be doing, and you're just like, the frustration. And seriously,
right?
Why the hell didn't anybody call 911?
Right.
Because it's a plot device. Because I think Jimmy's going to intervene.
You think so?
That's a tough spot, man. What do you think he's going to do?
Nah, I think they'll probably pull some shit where it's all suspenseful right now. But what's going to happen is like when we catch back up for the finale, Chuck's in the hospital and he's all banged up, and then it turns out somebody did call 911, and then and it moves on from there.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
right? You're saying that
you think he's going to stay out of it. You don't think Jimmy's going to rush to his brother's aid?
No, I just think I don't know. I just get the feeling that it's going to be one of these things where, like, while it's dramatic, like not as much time lapses as possible. So why it ends with him saying, call 911, call 911. The next episode is going to open up and it's going to show like Chuck all bandaged and somebody did call 911, but it was just this episode was just ending with the emphasis on how Jimmy was feeling because he's essentially caused all that mess and everything can come crashing down. And then on the other side of it, he doesn't blow his cover, which makes it even worse. You see what I'm saying? Like
That's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah.
And then it'll come out like Chuck will be in the hospital or something once again, and then somehow through that it'll come out that Jimmy was there the whole time and saw all that happen. So it'll make it worse than him running across the street and blowing up his own thing. It'll just so happen that somebody did actually call 911 in the few seconds after, and then that's gonna be the catalyst for how everybody finds out.
Okay.
Or Chuck dies, one or the other. Because him running in to be the hero blows everything up, but it gives him a little bit of a redeeming quality. Him letting somebody else call 911, acting as if he didn't know what the hell happened, and then it comes out in the open that he was actually there to see it all happen, and he didn't help his brother after he smacked his head, will make him look all that much more worse.
Right. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I don't think I could stand there and not blow my cover. I think at that point, I'm running in to see if my brother's okay. It is National Sibling Day today, by the way.
That's such a bullshit holiday. I'm not even going to recognize that. Yes. Right. Well, I don't know.
But Chuck could very well die, and that would be 2 episode 10 funerals, and then Kim Wexler could be season 3's episode 10 funeral. How dark would that be if they made somebody dies in the last episode of every season?
Of every season? Yeah. I don't know, man. Just to me, it sounds like you're saying that you think he's going to run across the street, and that's how it all blows up in his face.
I don't have a solid prediction, but you you kind of said you basically said what I was thinking, is that it's horrible to put not blowing your cover a priority over checking, to see if your brother's okay. But I think the way it played out, because he kind of looks like he's like stopping himself from running after him, which makes me think that he won't actually run after him. He's going to watch it play out, and then I don't think he's going to blow his cover. I don't think he's ever going to blow his cover on this one.
So you don't think anybody's ever going to find out, and he's just going to hold it in, and it's just going to be like eat away at him?
I don't even know if it has to eat away at him. I think it's just he's going to get what he wants, because something else will happen down the line that fucks it all up. But I think he's going to get away with this one.
All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. So overall, impressions of 209, we touched on it at the beginning, but after chatting about it for this long ass time, long episode this week. Okay, so final thoughts. Perfect. I thought it was good too.
No, hold on. Well, I don't know if this was like the crazy episode that I thought it was going to be. I think that you are going to be more satisfied with season 2's season finale than you were with season 1's season finale.
I'd say that's probably a given.
Yeah, because episode 9 last season was awesome. That last blowout with Chuck and Jimmy was great.
Totally.
And they didn't quite have that feel, but they did have that really, really good scene with Chuck, Jimmy, and Kim.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been a running theme season to season so far, as episode 9's got a kick-ass scene with Jim confrontation.
Right.
But I think Mike is going to be more involved in this season finale. Of course, last season finale was pretty much just Jimmy and Marco.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It'd be for me thus far. What, out of almost 20 episodes, that was the season finale of season 1 is by far my least favorite episode of the series thus far. So I think it'll be.
I think
definitely better than
I think it's because of context, though, right?
Yeah.
Not as just a standalone, because it was a good episode.
Yeah, it was. It was a good episode. It just had such a great build up before that. It just seemed like the last episode of last season should have came before episode 9 of that season.
You know what? If episode 10 of last season was episode 1 of this season, it'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay, fine. I'll go along with that. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? All right. So anyway, make sure to let Dave and I know what you think. Make sure to keep checking out the Nothing Important podcast where Dave and I talk to people more important and famous and generally better human beings than we'll ever be. Make sure to keep hitting us up on Twitter. We'll try to have more t-shirt contests probably Thursday. Let me figure out how many I got to send out this week before we do all that. And Dave and I, with luck, will be in LA on Sunday. So if anybody's in LA on Sunday, make sure to hit us up on Twitter. Say, hey, maybe we can go out and have a drink or two.
Yes.
They're paying, though. I sent out t-shirts, so you'll have to pay. I got to get some of this money back somehow.
My closing remark is that Howard Hamlin's character is like jazz music because you have to pay attention to the emotions he's not portraying. While everybody else is being all emotional and crazy, he's the one that's not showing any emotion, but he's got it all inside. That's pretty awesome.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah, I made that up. I tweeted it earlier, too.
That's pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah, the whole emotion he doesn't.
That was a shower principle moment where your mind's distracted and something kind of hits you.
Yeah. All right. Right on. I like that. That's a good way to end. So anyway, we'll talk to you later this week on Preview with the Prior. And, of course, we will have our show up as the credit roll for the finale of Season 2. And we'll let you guys know what our plans are after that. Dave?
I especially liked it when Lance was questioning Jimmy. He says, it's not murder, but sometimes I do take a number 2 and don't flush. I'm sure you love that joke. Call us idiots. Call us geniuses. Whatever. Just call us. Or if you're Brant, call us retarded.
Yeah,